Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling, magical Monday. Hi. How was your Magic Monday, the last day of February? Did you get anything done today to close off this month? I was going great guns. I got everything done I needed to get done today, except, and I thought, great, and I got collected all the trash together, like all the recycling, got all that sorted out, got the trash bag ready to go, and walked out the door to go take Zephy for a walk. And normally we take the trash bag with us and put it in the trash can, and we get off there walking, and I'm like, oh, we're going the wrong way. We're supposed to be going, and I give Zephy the leash, and she wanders off to the left. Oh, we're going left. I'm walking along and suddenly I realize my hand's empty. There's no trash bag. We were supposed to go right. So I left the trash bag here. And then I get back and I realize that all my recycling stuff's sitting here as well. I really don't want to go do it in the dark because it's dark outside now. So my recycling is ready to go. My trash is ready to go. Maybe I should just go put it in the car so I can do it tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I'll go do that. That way it's out of the RV. It's not taking up space. Look, I even separated my drink containers because I have cans and I have plastic bottles, and the plastic bottles, you're going to leave the lids on and they go in the recycle bin. Then you have the cans that go in the can bin. And so I had it all separated out. Yeah, I've still got my I see my cardboard still up by the steering wheel as well. Forgot to put that out too. Well, I guess I could go do it in the dark. It's pretty well lit over there. Maybe. I'll see if a pup wants to go for an RIDE to the trash can and back. I mean, the trash can's not that far away. It's just the bulk of everything. Because I've got bags to go. I got bags to go in the recycle bin. I got a bag for the trash can, and then I've got all the loose cardboard. And one of the boxes is a really big box. It's been broken down and flattened. But yeah, trying to carry that and have a dog on a leash, yeah, that ain't gonna work. But I am excited. My new Fire Stick arrived today. It's plugged in, and that's all I've done with it. I took it out. I plugged it in. That's it. So now I put the batteries in the remote. So now I have to go sit down, remember what my Amazon password is, get everything logged in and registered and blah, 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 so that I can use it. And hopefully it'll stop this problem I've been having lately with all the stops, the starts, the pauses, the getting out of syncs and everything else. I figured it was because my Fire Sticks, like the first generation. It was one of the first ones that, it was the first one that came out, and now they're upgraded it a few times. So I'm going to go and see if that will help with the problem. Yeah, because I got a new Wi-Fi as well, which is the latest version of the Wi-Fi, because the other one's obsolete now. And so I'm wondering if it's all this connections between old technology and new technology. And, I know about this much about technology. I know enough to be dangerous. Yes. So, still trying to figure out all the NFTs and the crypto thingy as well. I think I've got it worked out. I just have to wait for everything to get put into place so I can go see if I can make it work. Yes. So, but it's been an awesome day. It's been a great day. Got a lot of stuff done today, so I'm very thankful for that. Yeah, it's been an awesome day, and I got all my invoicing done that I needed to get done. I was like, yay! So I am very happy to have gotten that done. My invoice, because I'm usually really late with my invoicing, and so all my invoices are in before the end of the month. So, yay! Got something done on time. Yay! So celebrate, because we can now complete. This month is complete work-wise. Work-wise, I declare this month complete. So tomorrow we start a fresh new day with the businesses and everything. So what magic did you guys cause today? Sounds like I'm asking you what trouble you got into today. There's that too. Because my theory is you're never too busy to get up to mischief. as Brad used to find out. But yeah, I was looking through my memories on Facebook before I came on the live, and I came across this cute little video of things that kids got up to. It was a compilation of kids, and it's just like toddlers and infants and toddlers, and it was hilarious. And so I was having a good laugh at it. So I did share it to my Facebook page. So if you want to go check that out, it should be in my feed there. But yeah, they're hilarious little videos. And the one with the girl in the bathroom washing the Shetland pony. Giving it a bath. She got the little shower hose out and she's just squirting it down. Mother goes, I'm giving it a bath. And mother goes, again? In the house. Oh, but there's some great ones in there. Like the dad that's just sitting there watching the sports and the kid gives him a Dorito and then pushes the glass back up to have a drink. Oh, there's lots of good ones. You know, the video's like a couple of years old, but it still gives you some really, really good laughs. So if you've not had a chance to laugh today, go to my Facebook page, look for that video that I shared with the kids compilation things on there. It's just a really good laugh if you want to go have a laugh. Like a little frightened with the garage door incident, though. That was a little frightening, but the other ones were all pretty much okay. But anyway, go have a super fantastic sparkling evening. That's it from me for today. Let's see, what am I doing tonight? Oh, well, I've got a couple of things I may go and do. Oh, I'm done with work for the month. I've completed it. It's done. That's tomorrow night's job. So yeah, tomorrow night we're going to be going through some different ways. Well, I'm going to be searching for some different ways. I have a client that I'm looking for some information for her, and the regular ways aren't working. So we're going to try some out of the box ideas, try some different places to search, and all of that. But so tomorrow's the 1st of March, and do you know what that means? It means we've got 31 days until the release of the 1950 census. The US government made a law that they can release the census. The census is done on every year ending in a 0, and it can't be released for 72 years to the public. It can be used for whatever the government uses it for, but you get to see the results. As a genealogist, we get to see the results 72 years. So this year it's the 1950 census. In 2032 there'll be the 1960 census. So yeah, every 72 years they'll release the census. So everybody's on tenterhooks waiting for the 1st of April, and the websites are probably going to crash and be really slow to get on. So I'm going to give it a few days, and I don't even know what date the 1st of April is. What date is the 1st of April? It is a Friday. Yeah, I'm probably going to stay off all genealogical sites over that weekend, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I can guarantee those sites are going to be running really, really slow with everybody trying to get on to see the 1950 census. So I'm a little more patient with stuff like that comes out. And so I will probably wait a little bit, like a week at least, till all the newness wears off, and then I can go in and browse and do what I need to do. So it's going to be interesting to see who's on there. And that was really cute when the 1940 census came out, because I printed off the page that my mother-in-law was on in 1940, and I highlighted her dad, her, and her sister, and I took it out to her and I says, here, have a look at this. And she looks and she goes, that's my daddy. That's me. That's my sister. She goes, what is this? I said, it's the 1940 census. And she goes, oh. So she has a look and goes, oh, yeah, that looks about right. See, the thing is with the census, this is something new that I learned on one of the week-long classes I was on, is that the census, when the enumerators would go around and gather the information, you didn't know. For us today, we don't know who was giving the information. Was it actually a family member, or was it the next door neighbor, because the family wasn't home at the time when the enumerator called? So the next door neighbor answered the questions for the family next door, or it could have been the house across the street. So you don't know who gave the information to the enumerator then that they then wrote in the books and everything else. So it was kind of interesting learning about the census and how they were done. And actually would have been the one I did back at the beginning of the year, because our instructor for 2020, I think, no, not 2020, what was one for 2010, was actually an enumerator. And even though everything was basically done online, there were still people that didn't submit it online. So they had to go around and still knock on the doors and everything else to get people to fill in the census. And she said the stuff that she had to go through, where people were sort of like, no, not giving information because they thought they were the INS. They thought there were all these other different government departments and everything else. And they had to explain, no, I'm just the census. I've got nothing to do with the INS. I got nothing to do with the FBI. I got nothing to do with the CIA. I'm just here to gather information about your family for the census, and had to explain it to people. And so she said it was very interesting going in there. But she says anybody could give the information for the people that were in the house. For the, who lives in that house. Well, these people live in this house, and this is what their names are. This is their ages. Are they married? Are they single? So it's sort of like, so that will be why in some census and of course, then it's up to the person who is writing it down to spell the names correctly. And sometimes they're spelling them phonetically by what they hear, not how things are actually spelled. So when you're looking through census reports, you've got to allow for different spelling variations as well. And like I've found my mother-in-law with her name, there's several different ways that name has been spelled over the years. But it depends on who's listening at the time. And so then they've got this little thing that's got called Soundex. So you can click the box and it's a name that sounds like this, and you write the correct name in there, but it looks for variations in spellings and all of that as well, which is kind of cool. But sometimes I would just sit there because sometimes I think that they don't pick it up, which I have proven that some of them don't. And I've literally gone through 21 different spellings of my mother-in-law's maiden name to find information. And then none of them worked. And then I found it. This is for the 1930 census or the 1920 census. I'm trying to remember if she was on that one or not. And I found a completely different spelling, which was nothing of my list of 21 different spellings. And so I was like, really? So you got to look at different variations of spelling as well, because depending on who the enumerator is and what they hear is what they will spell out, because especially if they're in times where people couldn't read or write, they had no idea how their name was spelled. So you get different variations of spelling. So that's why you got to know when you sort of like, the area that they lived in, where did they live for the census. You look at city directories, you look at different other things that will collaborate that. I mean, even newspaper articles that some of the older newspaper articles I found them hilarious, because I would say so-and-so's in hospital. Oh, so-and-so's been released from hospital today. They are returning to their house at, and it would give the full address. And I'm like, really? This was, just back in the 1950s, 1960s. They'd just blast out what your home address was and all that sort of stuff in the thing. And so you could take information like that from newspapers, from other public records, direct telephone directories and stuff, and kind of like coordinate them all. And okay, where would they be in the census? If you couldn't find them by their name. I've got, and the English census is on the first of it, is on a year that ends in 1. So with those ones, again, same situation. So I went and researched, who does all these things, and they put a date that they, who was living in the house on this day, who was in the household on this particular day. And if somebody was staying away at a friend's place, they would be on the friend's place census for the friend's family as a visitor or a boarder or a guest, or it could have on their niece, nephew, grandson, granddaughter, that sort of thing as well. But there was that particular date that they would choose, like say April 1st. Where were you on April 1st? Who was in the house here on April 1st? And you'd have to list all the people that were in the house and stuff. So it's kind of interesting going through census. And what was it? I can't remember which one it was, but there's one where they actually ask the women, how many children have you had and how many are still living, which was great for us genealogists, because if we thought, oh, we've only come across a couple of kids, now all of a sudden, it says, oh, we've had 10 kids and there's 8 still living. You're sort of like, oh, what happened to the other 6? So now you've got 6 people to go and find. So censuses are full of lots of information. Different years they ask different information. And I like the ones where they ask what the occupation is. Where were your parents born? Were they born in this country? Were they not born in this country? Because some of the ones will have, so you could see where families came from: Ireland or Scotland or England or Germany or Italy, Sweden, China, any other country. You could see where their parents were born, because it would have birthplace of father, birthplace of mother. And so it helped you when you were researching, especially if you had a couple and you're sort of like, okay, well, I've come to a dead end here in the US. Where else could they, where are they from? And so you suddenly find the census to find out that they were born here in the States, but their parents might have been born in Ireland. You're like, oh, now I've got to go hunt through the Irish records. So that gives you another place that you can go. And then you come across several people with the same name. You're like, And then you got to start looking at what other information do you know to help you narrow down which is the right person, because some may have parents that were born here in the States. Some may have had parents who were born overseas. One was born in the States, one was born overseas. So it's interesting going back when they put in the birthplace of the parents, because that can help you narrow down where you've got to go next, instead of during this broad search. But I really did like the question in there, like how many children have you had and how many are still living? Because then it gave you an idea that if you came across a list of 7 kids, but the census said that she only had 6, and somewhere along the way, and this is where you've got to cross-reference all your materials and stuff in your research, because you can get times, and I have seen this time and time and time again. When I'm in Ancestry, you get when it does its searches or its hints, it shows you other family trees. I very, very, very rarely, if ever, join import information from somebody else's tree, because I don't know if their research is correct. I don't know their sources, whether they do have sources, so I can go check. But I have come across situations where you look at the tree and you know that family only had 7 kids. 7 kids. Or whether they all survived or not, there were 7 pregnancies. And you know that for a fact. You have found the records that support all of that. And then all of a sudden you come across this one tree and somebody's got 11 kids sitting there, and you're like, well, who are these other 4 kids? And then you're looking at the years that they were born, and it's sort of like, okay, those last 4 were born 20 years after the firstborn. So you're sort of like, yeah, it's possible, but not really, because you know that when they immigrated from the UK to New Zealand, they only brought across 6 kids with them, and they didn't have any kids when they got to New Zealand. And the years that they came into New Zealand, and there's this gap, and all of a sudden they have 4 children when they're in New Zealand. Yeah, I don't think so. So you've got to be careful of that. But somebody picked it up in some census somewhere, or found one where the children's names were similar, but there was some differences in there, and they didn't realize that there's differences when then they just, oh, here's all their kids, and type them all in without verifying. This is why it's important. You've got to keep checking everything as you go along. I know that there are mistakes in my tree. I've got 7,800 people in my tree, and I know that there are errors. I just got to find them. So as I come across information and things, I go searching in my tree. What information do I have on this person? And it's like, that looks a little suspicious. So we'll go doing some digging on that. So I'm always cleaning up my family tree, because I know I have errors in there. I know that 7,800 people, that there are errors in there. I am not a perfectionist. I can't get it right the first time. From learning the ins and outs of genealogy as I've come over the years, I know that I made mistakes in my earlier stuff that I was doing. So now I have to go back and have a look. And I have been, as I come across them, I have been correcting them. Or sometimes I'll go in there and go, oh, and I have a list. I have a list to go through. And sometimes I come across them, I don't have time to correct it there and then. So I have a list written out of people I've got to go back to make a correction. And I'll put a note in my notebook to say, go back, need to verify this date or that date, because you might have the parents were 10 years old when the kid was born. Something is wrong. Either it's the wrong kid born in the wrong year, or I have the parents' birth dates incorrect. So now I have to go back and verify that. And I know on my father's mother's side of the family, on her father's side of the family, so my grandmother's paternal side of the family, I know that there's some errors in there that I have made, and I have to go back and clean them up. My great-grandfather has too many siblings. I know he did not have that many siblings, so I've made some errors in there and putting them in, and it could be, but it's more up in his line where there's an error, so I have to go back and correct those. So I know that that's one area I have to go and correct. So when you're searching genealogy, be very careful. Always cross-reference everything. If I can't get a minimum of 3 sources for one line, then that information is not verified. And I've got some things in my trees that only has 2, and I'm looking for that elusive 3rd one, and I know it's out there somewhere. I just got to find it. It could be I come across that reference, and it blows the other 2 things out of the water. You get that? You get that? So yeah. So it's like with my 3rd great-grandfather on my father's side of the family. I think it's on the maternal side. On his father's mother's side, I actually teamed up with somebody in New Zealand and somebody in Australia and we came together because it was my 3rd great-grandfather, their 2nd great-grandfather. So they were first cousins once removed. No, hang on. They were second cousins once removed. So we spent a lot of time helping each other and saying, hey, I found this, can you check this for me? I found this, can you check this for me? And I happened to be looking at found a baptismal record one day, which fitted in that time slot. And I'm looking at it and going, okay, the name is the same, because he had like 2 or 3 middle names. He had 2 middle names. It had the 2 middle names listed. The last name was correct. The mother's name was correct. And then there was a little line and it had the father's information. I'm like, oh, right father's information, right mother's information, but why is there a line and they have 2 different addresses? And so I've always been taught that whenever you're looking at records, always look above and below, especially on census report. Who are the neighbors? Who are the people in the street? Oh, and when you're doing census reports, the enumerators will go up one side of the street, sort of like around the block, and then cross over and go around the other side. They actually have a pattern, a map that they have to follow of what order they have to do it. And so they literally do one side they don't go backwards and forwards across the street. They go around one side, and at a certain point, they've got to cross over and come back around the other side. So as an FYI. And so as I normally do on any record, I always look what's above it, what's below it. And then below it, I noticed that the same woman, same name, same address was listed on the baptismal record directly below my 3rd great-grandfather. And I'm like, what's going on here? And the father was different. I'm like, who is this father? And it had his occupation, because I would put the occupation of the father on the baptismal records. It had the occupation of bookbinder. And my 3rd great-grandfather had become a bookbinder, and his father was a jeweler. He actually traveled to distant lands to buy the jewels and bring them back. And they called him a foreign agent at one point. Oh, I got a spy in the family. Yes. No, it turned out he was a jeweler. And we'll go on these expeditions to bring jewels back to England. And I'm like, hang on, he's a bookbinder. And so then I had a look, and I went back to the census before that. Before that baptismal record, I went to the census before that, and they were next door neighbors. She was still married. He was married, widowed. He was either married or widowed. I can't remember which. But they were living next door to each other on the census reports. And I'm like, And then I found a marriage certificate for her and the guy next door. So now we're trying to figure out, and I sent this information off to my contacts in New Zealand and Australia, and my cousins, and I said to them, what do you think? And they're like, well, that explains a lot. Now what happened to his father? Because we can't find a death record for him. So we've been searching for that one for over 10 years. On and off. We search every now and again, and then we'll go contact each other and check in. Found anything yet? Nope. So yeah, we've been searching for over 10 years for my 4th great-grandfather. So yes, that's kind of interesting when you get into that, but always look above and below. When you've got the actual certificate in your hand, look on the back side of it. If it's in a book, look at the pages before and after. Is there anything on the back of the page? Is it like everything goes on the left-hand side, on the right-hand page, and there's notes put onto the back of it? If you get actual records, always look on the back to see if there's any information on the back. We've come across birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates where there's been corrections made on the back of the certificate, or other notes put on there about that wedding. So you never know. You never know. Always look above and below. Well, who's next door in the census? Who's across the street? You never know, because it could be that their future spouse is living in the same street as them, and it was somebody they went to school with, or a family that lives next door that they got friendly with, or whatever. You never know. So it's always pay attention to the details, not just what you're looking at, but what's the records either side of that. And you'll be interesting. It's kind of interesting to see what you find out and things too. So even if they did like a name change, or it's a delayed birth certificate or whatever, you can find interesting notes on them. But anyway, rambled on long enough. I'm out of here. Go have a super fantastic, sparkling, fun evening on this magical Monday, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow morning for Tune Up Tuesday. Hey, Conera.